Welcome to Beyond Revenue, the show where we break down how revenue leaders actually build and scale growth engine in the real world. I'm your host, Michael Jäger. Today's episode is about something many companies underestimate, launching and scaling new graphic markets. It looks exciting from the outside, but behind the scenes, it's about credibility, hiring, positioning, and a lot of uncomfortable first conversations. I'm excited to be joined by David von Hilchen, Director Sales DACH and Country Lead at StackAdapt. David is currently building the German organization of one of the most advanced AI-driven programmatic advertising platforms globally. And before that, he helped to launch Pinterest in Germany and led enterprise partnerships in the US. David, great to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Michael, for inviting me and having me here on your show.
So David, before we get tactical, give us a bigger picture. You've launched markets before, you've built sales teams, and now you're leading DACH for StackAdapt. What does your role actually look like day to day, and what is the biggest challenge when you're building a market from scratch for a global ad tech player?
Great question. The fun piece about this question is actually that no day looks like the other, which is ultimately also something that draws me to these kind of challenges in the market, or helping international companies entering, in my case, the DACH region. I've done that now 6 times in a row. StackAdapt is the 6th company I'm helping with the market start in Germany. How's my day-to-day looking? It's really interesting. From a day-to-day, it's really no day looks like the other. If we zoom that out a little bit, every decision we're doing on a day-to-day basis is obviously in the first couple of months and years, obviously growing the brand, introducing the brand to the market, which means building a team, making first contact to potential first clients, partners in the market, and obviously driving things forward, establishing a rhythm with the team. And I would say under this rooftop, all the decisions I'm making on a daily basis are structured.
Nice. What was your first hire in DACH, and which role did you prioritize and why?
Also a good question. So when I started at StackAdapt, we had 2 people on the ground already, 1 sales manager and 1 account manager. At StackAdapt, which is a digital marketing ad tech business, we are forming pods, how we call them, small teams, 1 sales manager, 1 account manager. And we had 1 pod in place already. So this was great for me because I had a great team on the ground that could help me with my personal onboarding and understanding the nuances. We had first data points of which clients work, which didn't. And it helped me in build the broader strategy for the market and where to go to. So what became evident in the first place, and it's probably not unique to the situation with StackAdapt in the market, is we needed more sellers, right? We needed people who make contact with the market, with potential clients. So back to your question, my first hire was a sales manager on my team.
What is harder, convincing German brands to use a new DSP or to use and trust a new DSP, or convince headquarters to invest more in Germany?
It's a tricky question. Of course, I've also to say, with StackAdapt, we have the unique situation that the buy-in from the C-level suite for Germany and the DACH markets is extremely high. Also, StackAdapt right now is on an extreme growth path. The company grew from 150 people to more than 1,700 people today in only 5 years. And we're intending to probably finish the year as a global company beyond 2,000 employees globally. So the investment into headcount there is a clear plan to grow quickly, which, to your question, probably it is convincing German clients. But on the other hand side, it's a two-bladed sword, I would say, right? If you grow headcount in market quickly, there's also an expectation to bring revenue in. And if you grow too quickly and the revenue follows too slowly, it obviously can create other problems we don't want to have.
Fair enough. In one word, how would you describe launching a new market?
One word is tough, but I'd probably say prioritization. right?
Sure.
Everything is about like prioritizing and like making the best of the limited time you have on a day, and try to make the right decisions to get to your goal as quickly as possible.
So, right, we want to talk about two tactics that work and one tactic that didn't work to really learn very operational. What's the first specific approach that really worked well for you?
I probably have to give a little bit more context on like what we are doing. StackAdapt is a programmatic platform, a digital marketing platform to buy digital media. You could tell everything outside the walled gardens. So StackAdapt offers advertisers and agencies the possibility to buy home inventory, CTV inventory, display, native, audio, in-game. So really the full possibilities in digital marketing. One of the central promises of StackAdapt is also to, deliver outstanding on the best service in market. So we have additional things we offer our clients that goes beyond what like the competition is doing. So coming back to your question, what was like the first thing I realized when I started is like I worked for Pinterest before. I was the first person on the ground for Pinterest in Germany, helped enter the German market for this company. And I realized at StackAdapt how much more complex programmatic advertising is and how much harder it is to sell and position, because like also the USP is not like, there's not like a single solution USP usually. The USP comes from a combination of solutions that can be one combination for one client and like a total different combination for another. So the complexity is high. So my thought was we need a team that like understands our opponents or clients' needs and problems very well. And StackAdapt also operates in a very broad variety of different verticals. So I thought it makes total sense to verticalize my sales organization from the get-go. This was unique since like everywhere else in the world, StackAdapt from a sales target perspective focuses on independent agencies. And I said, I think we need a team that focuses on like our priority verticals, which are B2B, travel, retail, CPG, and healthcare. So this was an approach I think also like in review was the right decision, because like we could from the beginning demonstrate that StackAdapt can help in these industries on a very precise manner.
Nice. And but which meant is that with a small team, everybody. So how did it work operational, right? So because with a small team, one person per vertical, and then if they sick or on holidays, how could you substitute? Quite a risk as well, right?
I would say like just like sick leave and vacation leave is something that like we were able to cover. So I immediately got like the green light from the leadership team to hire 5 sellers for the 5 priority verticals I just named. And we had that by like I started in June 2024. We had that, I call it my founding team, my landing team. I had it fully onboarded by H2 2025. So to get to your question, it was definitely possible if one seller was out of office to like another seller to take over and cover for the time.
And then this showed that you could really build the trust in the verticals by showing the proper knowledge, which was needed to really move fast in a new market, right? And to get the trust in to show that you can actually create revenue. I really like it. Nice.
Absolutely. That's the plan.
What was the second tactic which actually worked for you, or approach you chose, and what did you do and how did it work?
Yeah. I mean, in order to be successful with that verticalization strategy, I obviously needed a team that is like high class. And for everyone who knows like ad tech sales, it's a specific kind of sales, right? Like it's a pretty consultative sales. I think everyone I hired for sales and account management roles are also like great marketing people. So they're all very knowledgeable marketing consultants as well. And they need to be successful in their roles, because what does someone need to do who's leading the travel vertical? He has or she has to talk to CMOs in the travel world, of the TUIs and Lufthansas of this world, right? And we needed to be on eye level. So we needed experienced people. And the challenge here was that like StackAdapt as a brand was literally unknown in the market, and still is to a certain degree, right? Like this is one of the main challenges we have, and you usually have when you enter a market from somewhere else. So if we put out the job descriptions into the market, obviously we haven't received like qualitative applications from a lot of people. So it was a problem for us. What we did, I tried to step in as a brand for StackAdapt. So I personally reached out to people I thought could be a good fit and literally pitched the opportunity to join this company at this very, very early stage. And tried to sell the role to people directly myself, which worked well. So I would say from 4 people I hired, 3 I reached out to directly and had direct conversations first before entering the interview process.
Nice. What was one tactic that you approached there or before at Pinterest, which you defined something and it actually didn't work? And what was your learning?
This is something I told my team from the beginning. This is like, will be a rough ride, will be fun, but it will be rough. And one thing we all need to understand is that like we need to learn along the way the entire time and stay agile and also course correct if needed. And for example, with like the verticalization strategy, I just said like healthcare was one of our priority verticals. Why did I pick that vertical or all these verticals? Because StackAdapt offers very specific technology solutions for brands and companies in these verticals to help them with their marketing objectives and their marketing challenges. What we realized after approximately a year was that healthcare wasn't taking off as much as we hoped for. Or let's say it differently, finance and insurance took off much quicker than healthcare. So I hired this like one individual that was like responsible for the healthcare vertical, and they all had like, let's say, second tier verticals as well they were responsible for. And I asked this individual like if he would feel comfortable to switch priorities and like focus more on like finance and insurance. This like was probably one thing that was a bit unexpected also from the data from other markets, but something we realized needs to be done here in the market. It's like how we switched.
Fair enough. So let me recap that. In your tactic 1, you said if you enter a new market where you're completely unknown, you need to focus to build trust very fast in order to be able to show results. That's why you took the quite risk decision to go directly into 5 verticals with a verticalized sales approach. In order to really show that you understand their needs and can cater to their needs with very dedicated resources on that. Second learning and tactic was, look, if you're an unknown brand and you need to hire highly professional experts in the field, the self-recruited part doesn't really work if you just put out the job description. And here your tactic is right. You did your own hands-on work, made the research, reached out personally in order to build trust with the experts, and then you hired the people directly, and it worked out quite well. And the third learning where it didn't work is like, look, you anticipated the verticals based on the other learnings from other markets, and one vertical surprisingly didn't work out, but because you built a plan B already where you can say, look, you have a second vertical to focus on while they're not there, or to support, you could change and fix the position and put more focus in the vertical, which actually worked. Anything
Absolutely.
to add from your side here?
Nothing to add in terms of like another bigger point, but like I think the agility piece is super, super important, right? Like, this is what I also meant at the beginning. It's like one day is not looking like the other. Like you have to adopt your approach, your strategy on a daily basis. And if it means like, hey, we realize like the StackAdapt brand is not like strong enough, that like we need to shift, right, and be more sleeves up and like follow a hands-on approach, as you said correctly.
Excellent. David, thank you very much for the practical insights and being so transparent about both what works and what doesn't work. And I think the agility when you're launching a new market is the most important thing in order to be able to move fast and perform or get to quick results very fast. Before we close, can you share a little bit where can people connect with you in order to learn from you and reach out? Is it LinkedIn or?
For sure. I mean, like me personally and my team can all be found on LinkedIn. Obviously, more information about StackAdapt can be found on StackAdapt.com or on one of like the industry events. We will probably, me or one of my team members will be there for sure.
Nice. We will share that in the show notes. That was it for today's episode, building and scaling a new market lesson from launching DACH for a global edtech company. If you're in sales leadership, market expansion, or scaling a regional team, this is the one worth sharing with your peers. Thank you for tuning in to Beyond Revenue. I'm your host, Michael Jäger, and I'll see you for the next episode next week, where we continue breaking down how real revenue leaders actually build growth. David, thank you very much for your time.
Perfect. And again, thank you for inviting me.